It's Wednesday night again. This is the Wednesday Night Mouse Party. I am DM Foss, and with me tonight is G23. How you doing, G23?
Doing good. Thanks for the invite.
That's good to hear. There we go. Yeah, my Wi-Fi has been kind of glitchy so far, so hopefully it's keeps it together. But at the bottom of the screen, there's a email address, untacticalfoss@gmail.com, and a link. There's a couple ways to send in comments, suggestions, or pictures within reason. Let me get back to, there we go. So there's only a couple people out there talking. One was G23. There we go. This might be a short chat. This is going to keep up. But our Attacking Daughters was out there. And Ozzy Osbourne. I put let me go over. Hang on just a second. I meant to pin. There's a link for last week's poll. I forgot to do a poll for this week. But since we didn't have a chat last week, then we can use last week's poll. And I will pin that to top of the comments. So if you haven't voted in the poll, you can head over there and vote. And let's take a look at that poll.
Did you guys have this crazy weather today, or was your weather not so crazy?
As far as I know, it was sunny. I didn't see any craziness out there. Why? What happened?
Man, it was sunny. It was really nice. And then all of a sudden, it would just like start pouring buckets of rain. You couldn't see like 10 feet in front of you. It was, and everything. It was pretty crazy. And then it would go back to being sunny. And I mean, it was just pretty crazy.
As far as I know, that didn't happen here, but I don't know. I laid down about noonish, and then kind of flopped around in bed for a while before I fell asleep. So I didn't hear any rain, but the way I have, we've got tint on the windows, and then I have room darkening shades, so you can't always tell what it's like outside when you're in the bedroom. But so last week's poll was, does size matter? And the choices were, it's not the size of the dog in the fight, it's the fight in the dog. Or there's no replacement for displacement. Not the size of the boat, but the motion of the ocean. And Yo Mama So Fat. And Yo Mama So Fat took it by 41%. Second was not the size of the dog in the fight. it's the fight in the dog. It's 27%. There's no replacement for displacement. Was 21%. And not the size of the boat, but the motion of the ocean at 11%. And let's see. Look at the comments. DJ Play Nice posted a link. I forget what that was for. And asked, how fat is she? And New York Outcast just said, nice.
Well, my vote was displacement.
Yeah, I don't. That was, again, just one of the things sitting around on break, and that's what came to my head. But Your Mama So Fat took it. Your Mama So Fat, when she got on the scale, it said, I need your weight, not your phone number. Your Mama So Fat, I took a picture of her last Christmas, and it's still printing. And Your Mama So Fat, when she went to the beach, a whale swam up and sang. Your Mama So Fat. And if you watch this in replay, leave a comment. Anything we talk about, agree with, disagree with, think we left out, let me know. I always read the comments, and they're always appreciated. Gives you Gary's out there saying, yo. I don't know. Is there anything you want to talk about?
Not that I can really think of off top of the head. You know.
All right. Well, everybody have a good night. Yeah, I don't know. It was really nice today. Clear skies, sunny. Probably got up, I would think in the 70s, but again, I'm not sure exactly because I didn't. I went outside in the morning. I'm going to be building a raised flower garden for my wife. So I was moving some block around, but just kind of laying out the design that we're going to do. It's just kind of a squared off half circle. But I need to trying to figure out how big we want to make it. And so just kind of laying stuff out, and then once we get that set, then I can start digging.
So I was good. I had seen 300 blackout ammo on sale. I thought about you, and I was like, I should really tell Foss about this. And then I spaced it off, and I think the sale might be over.
That's all right. Yeah, I'll see sales on 300 blackout, and I'll think, ooh, and then, but I want subsonics, and that's usually the stuff on sale is supersonics.
I don't remember what this was. It was the ammo brand, so out of Arizona. And it was like $15 for a box of, I think, 20.
That's not bad. That's definitely not bad. Screaming Skull Saloon's out there. How's it going? It's been a while. And Ozzy Osbourne said it may not be the size of the boat, but it takes a long time to get to England in a rowboat.
I'll say hey to Triple S out there. I don't know what it is. I cannot say his name correctly.
Saloon.
Yeah, I know it's saloon, but every time I start to say it, I just end up saying salon. I don't know why, but I do.
I don't know. It's kind of like Ozzy. Um, I still will sometimes want to say Osborne, but it's Orsborn. I know it's Orsborn.
Yeah, there. I still say it. I'll still call him Ozzy. And yeah, there's just sometimes your brain just is like, nope, we're not going to say it correctly today.
Uh,
Yeah, it was a Bimart that had it on sale, and they had a 223556. It was like $9 a box.
Mike McLuhan's out there. Good evening. Yeah, I found a new. It's kind of like um, Tractor Supply. It's over in Lacey, and I guess it's been there about a year. We
Coastal
had a yeah
Farm and
we
Ranch.
yeah
Yeah.
we had a water heater put in, and got talking to the guys, and he mentioned Coastal, and I'm times because I would drive by it when I'd go up to Cabela's, and the area it's at, there used to be a Shopko, and it replaced the Shopko about a year ago. And so I never looked over there because I knew Shopko was gone. But stopped in there to check it out. Pretty cool. They get like farm sorts delivered. Gun section is pretty small, but I was talking to the guy at the gun counter, and he said, "Yeah, we're a lot faster than Cabela's." The process when you buy a gun, now I've heard other Cabela's are a little different than the one in Lacey, but it's a nightmare to buy a gun from them. It just takes so stinking long. Um, it, it, it the last was a little faster, but I think when I bought my PPK, it was a couple hours just sitting waiting, and it's horrible. But I love looking at their used guns and going to the gun library, because there's always cool stuff in there. With the passage of the
1240.
yeah, there's much cool stuff because everything now is an assault weapon, according to the state. But there's still usually some pretty cool older handguns that they'll have.
Yep. You guys can't even have pistols that have threaded barrels.
Remember, yeah, it's ridiculous, but all the there's court dates set to hear the lawsuits against 1240. I don't know when they're set for, but I know there's been filings in both state court and federal court.
I want to say May 12th in Ephrata. So Grant County, I think, is the first court hearing coming up, if I remember from Washington gun law.
Yeah, I like I said, I'm not sure exactly. I just know that there's three, I think at least three lawsuits dealing with this. And
Yeah, you got the Western, the Eastern federal districts, And then you've got the state, which is Grant County. It's been filed in.
Yeah, so we'll see if they grant an injunction, and if not, then we'll just have to wait it out a little bit until it moves its way up through the court systems. And unfortunately, the wheels of justice grind slowly, but that's actually a good thing. When if the courts act rashly, then it can end up moving with the whims of the majority, and that's how people get their rights trampled even more. So just need to be patient and let it work its way through the court. Screaming Skull said it is the right of the people to keep and own what they call assault weapons.
Yep. I really hope that you guys get a judge like we got in Harney County, because you guys definitely deserve a good constitutionalist judge who's going to rule based on the actual rule of law and the Constitution of the United States and Washington State Constitution. So hopefully you could definitely get one of those guys or gals.
Yeah, I do. We'll see what happens. Ozzy said Washington and Illinois is trying to see who can outdo each other. Unfortunately, yeah.
Oregon's throwing their hat in the ring, and they're trying their damnedest, but the Republicans and the independents have been staying out of the Senate, so they've walked out and they're like, we're not showing up to work. So they can't get a quorum to be able to pass the bills to strip our rights in Oregon like they want to strip them.
Screaming Skull is asking what was for dinner tonight. Well, I got up about 9:30, and I had 2 apple slices and 3 little cookies. That's what I've had so far.
I had bun ko.
Had what?
Bun ko.
What's that?
The Vietnamese dish. So it's like rice noodles, onions, carrots, cilantro. It's got peanut sauce, fish sauce, and then I had chicken, beef, and tofu, along with some other veggies that were in there.
Did you make that or did you order out?
I went to a little Vietnamese restaurant that's down in Grants Pass. And the owner is only been in the United States for 12, 13 years and straight from Vietnam.
Yeah, I'm one of those people who does not like cilantro. I've got the enzyme that makes it taste like soap. And there's other greens that'll taste soapy too to me. I don't like cilantro. Mike McClune had a couple chicken burger patties, chopped up salad, and chips.
I'm pretty sure that you could ask her to leave the cilantro off, and she would.
But yeah, it I found out about the enzyme thing. It was in Leavenworth. I was in a little shop in Leavenworth that sold spices and stuff, and we were talking to one of the employees, and and looking at the different mixes that they had, and I think one of them had cilantro in it. My wife mentioned, "Oh, he doesn't like cilantro," and the gal explained the whole thing about the enzymes. That some people have an enzyme in their mouth that makes it taste soapy, and it's like, yeah, that's what I taste. It tastes like soap to me. That's why I don't like it. Seems there's a lot of stuff that kind of in my later years that I've learned that. Well, the cilantro one, I knew that. Um, I don't know if most people like cilantro, but a lot of people like cilantro. But there's stuff like when I drive at night, I'll see kind of streaks of light around all the lights, headlights, and street lights.
Night
And
blindness.
well, I thought it was normal, but it's because of my stigmatism, and I didn't realize that was. I thought that's the way everybody saw lights at night, or I would think it was windshield needs to be cleaned or something like that. I didn't realize, no, that's just me. I saw a post on, it was either Instagram or a short on YouTube, but an eye doctor was showing this is what it looks like for somebody with astigmatism. It's like, oh, hey, that's me. I got that.
Yep. And nowadays, with your glasses, they can make it so that your night blindness isn't there.
Yeah, and that was with like with my first red dot that I had, and I thought, well, I just bought kind of a cheap red dot, so the dot looks fuzzy. And then I took a picture of the red dot to post it on when we had Discord. And I saw the dot was actually a solid, and it's a solid dot. It wasn't fuzzy. And I realized, oh no, that's me. That's not the dot. Have a good night, Artac. Artac's taking off. But even like growing up, shoes. I have wide feet, and I would always, shoes would always be tight, and I would just wait for them to kind of stretch out, and then they would get comfortable. And it wasn't until I was an adult that I realized, I found out you can get wide shoes. Growing up, I didn't know about wide shoes. It was incredible to have, shoes that fit and are comfortable. And then when I found out you can get wide socks. Ooh.
So I think growing up, 70s, 80s, wide shoes weren't ever really talked about, until here lately, last, I don't know, 20 years, you start hearing more and more people talking about wide shoes. But 70s, 80s, early 90s, that wasn't a big thing of a topic.
Yeah, I had never, heard of them growing up.
Yeah, I prefer the wide because, they are a little more comfortable and everything.
Screaming Skull said, been wearing boots every day since I was 15. Have to wear wide. Danners for the last 10. I like Keens. I'm actually wearing my Keens now. I like I like steel toe or the composite toes, but the toe boxes on them make my toes feel cramped sometimes, and then it's really uncomfortable. And the Keens have a rubber. I'll take one off and show everybody. The Keens have a rubber piece that the sole that comes over the toes, so it gives you a little bit of protection. It's not the same as like a composite toe, but it's a little bit of protection. And they're, in general, they run wide. So even if I can't find the wides, in the Keens, their regulars will stretch out.
I'm a sandals kind of guy. Give me a good pair of sandals, I'll be happy all day long. Give me shorts, sandals, and a t-shirt.
Mike McClune said, yeah, I've got wide feet. I wear 11 and a half double. That's what I have, but as you get older, your feet kind of get bigger. And I would usually get actually 12 because they're easier to find than an 11 and a half wides. But I've got a pair of shoes that are actually 13 now, just because the 12s are a little tight. I think they're New Balance. I've got the dad shoes, the New Balance, but I like New Balance because it's easy to find wide. And when I used to go to the outlet, the Famous Footwear outlet, I could always find wide shoes there. And the New Balance were normally the most comfortable ones.
I'm gonna have to get you a pair of Pumas. Pumas are awesome.
Screaming Skull said, finally bucked up and bought some Salomon assault boots. Hot in warmer months, though. Salomon is one of the ones I've thought about trying before, and I think it was just that I couldn't find a style that I like. Mike McClune said, I'm currently wearing Red Wings, the wide box toe, and so far so good. I went to, there used to be a Red Wings shop where I used to live, and I went and looked at them, but they didn't have any wides there. And they said, well, we can order them in. But the problem is I would have to wait for them to order them in before I could even try them on. So I didn't feel like going through all the hassle. Gary said I wear 8.5 or 9 wide kid shoes. He's got Buster Browns.
So many jokes about Red Wings.
M. Gabriel and MCK are out there. Good evening. MCK said I got to have OSHA approved. For hiking boots, I always get waterproof and non-slip. That's what I wear at work, and it's what I'll wear for at home. Regular tennis shoes, I'll just have, like I said, the New Balance regular tennis shoes. I do have a pair of Carhartt, kind of mid-height hiking boots that I've had for over 20 years, and they are the best boots that I've ever had. They're not wide, but they stretched out so they fit. And those were my riding boots when I would ride motorcycles. That's what I would wear. And now it's just the ones that I wear if I'm going to go somewhere where it's wet or muddy. Gary said I was just joking about kids' shoes. I wear adult shoes, but really size 8.5 or 9. Yeah, I figured you were kidding. And he said they're Skechers. I've never owned Skechers. And Screaming Soul said I wear slippers right now. I am wearing slippers right now. That's kind of what I use my Keens as. It's kind of slippers. I've got a pair that sit just inside the garage door. So if I go out in the garage, I can slip them on. And then I've got a pair that sit by the back door, so I can slip them on if I go outside. And then I've got my ones that I wear to work. Larry Knopf said, I've been wearing a Solo Fugitives for about 15 years now. Non-slip and waterproof. I haven't heard of those. Those are ones I haven't heard of. Let me see what they look like. Solo Fugitives. Ah, they're not bad looking. Here, we'll go to REI and look. I like the way they look. Here, I'll show everybody what I'm looking at. They look nice. These ones look nice. $300. Woo! They do have wide. How long do they last, Larry? The Keens, the only problem that I've run into with the Keens is they have a foam bed, which makes them comfortable, but that foam wears out eventually. What I usually I would have to replace them about every year.
I really like memory foam because those things. If a shoe says it has memory foam, I don't even waste my time because it's like
it wasn't memory foam. It's I can't remember if it's called like an EVA foam. Larry said his current pair are about 3 years old, and I think the ones I use as slippers have lasted a lot longer because I don't wear them all the time. MCK said memory foam don't belong in shoes. I don't like memory foam in shoes. It does, it does mold to your feet, but then when you start moving around, you've got the divots where your heel and your toes are. But if your shoe moves at all, then you're moving against those divots. Vanessa Kitty's out there. Good evening. And now when I look for shoes, if I find ones that I like and are comfortable, I'll buy 2 pairs. Because normally I'll have the shoes long enough that if I go to buy another pair, that model's out of stock. Not out of stock, but discontinued. So I'll buy 2 pairs. That way that'll last a while, and then I can eventually look for new ones. And Mike Ploon said, I don't mind spending money on quality footwear since I'm on my feet on concrete 8 to 10 hours a day. Yeah.
Yep. I was working, 10-hour plus days on concrete, jumping on and off forklifts, and yeah, your feet get, they take a pounding, especially when you're a big guy like I am.
Gary said, I also have a pair of Hey Dudes for kicking around the apartment. I don't know. I'm not sure. Never heard of Hey Dudes. Have you?
No, I was just gonna say, are they like deer foam?
Oh, yeah, it's kind of. Let me show Gary's Hey Dudes. Get out of here. So they're kind of it looks like in between a slipper and a boat shoe.
Yeah, kind of like, yeah, they used to wear those all the time, like in the 80s.
I'd never heard of the brand before. They got lots of styles and patterns.
I haven't heard of the brand, but definitely have seen the style of shoes.
CNT Designs and Arms is out there. Good evening. How's it going, Coop?
I figured Coop would be in bed after doing almost a 7-hour stream today.
Did he go that long? I watched a little bit when I was laying in bed. I was kind of listening to it. I need to have something on when I go to bed. It keeps my mind from racing. So I'll usually try and find some kind of long form YouTube video and put that on. I used to listen to music. Drives my wife crazy because she can't have any noise, but I have to, otherwise I'll keep thinking and then sometimes just get up because I'm thinking too much.
Yep. We keep the TV on 24/7.
I'll do that sometimes. If I can fall asleep faster if I'm laying on the couch, but I'll sleep better if I'm laying in bed. So sometimes I'll crash on the couch and either have the TV on or again a YouTube video or something.
You need to get you a nice, comfy, like lazy boy, so you can recline it back and stretch out. You'll go to sleep.
I did have one when my son was little, when he was a wee baby. I would lay back and then have him kind of cradled in my arm, and I'd sleep like that. And I have a recliner, but I don't know, I can still fall asleep, but it's I'd rather lay on the couch now.
Oh, there was a couch that was at Costco, and it had the electric recliner on the ends. But when you reclined it,
Yeah.
you could also push one button, and then it would like make the headrest come up so it would support your neck better when you were laying flat. Oh man, that thing was so comfy.
I have one of those electric recliners, and I didn't set out to buy one. It's just when I needed a recliner for the Mariners room, and it was discounted, so it was cheaper than the regular recliner, so I bought it. But they're kind of a pain because you have to have it near an outlet. I don't know if you ever heard me moving it around when I used to sit up there on your chats, but I'd, be putting it up and down and
I never paid attention.
Gary said, I really want to get a recliner. The only furniture I have in my living room is a love seat, and I got it from a coworker for free when I moved here. Not very comfortable. Well, if you do get one, remember you can remove the back, so you can move it in two pieces instead of having to haul the whole thing at one time. With that electric recliner, that's really nice to be able to take them apart because they're heavy.
You know what's really, really nice? If you buy it from the right place, they'll actually deliver it and set it up for you, and then you don't have to worry about carrying it at all.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like with the recliner, it's nice just to be able to throw it in the car and then bring it home and do it myself. Then I don't have to wait on anybody, and I can put it where I want it. Don't have people trampling around the house. Mike McLeod said I can fall asleep anywhere when I'm tired. I do too. Like when I come home, I'll usually start to crash because I'll come home, usually sit at the desktop computer, listen to whatever chat from the previous night, and sometimes I'll doze off. And I take my daughter in the mornings to preschool, so I can't go to sleep straight when I get home. Gary said he lives on the third floor apartment buildings that has no elevator, so someone is going to have to bring it here.
Well, if you have a Costco account, you can order it from Costco.com, and they will bring it to you and set it up.
Yeah, I don't know. With the really large stuff like we have a king size sleigh bed. That one I was fine to let the delivery guys set it up for me. But for the most part, if I can do it myself, I'd rather just do it myself. Nearest Costco to Gary is 100 miles away. Have a good night, Mike. Thanks for dropping by. Yeah, there's some stuff I don't mind having other people do, but for the most part, if I can do it myself, I'd rather do it myself. Like the water heater, I know I could have done it, but the gas line, we have a gas water heater. I'm nervous. I wanted to make sure somebody who has more experience did it.
Yep. Accidentally cross-thread that, and next thing you know, you got a leak filled up. Oh, that'd be horrible.
Yeah, that was when we bought this house. It was the first time that I've ever had a home with gas, and just like with the stove, it took a while to get over that fear of blowing up, and now I love it. And I feel bad for all the people in California. when they eventually banned the gas stoves.
I thought Washington was doing that too, along with New York and some other place.
I haven't heard. Coop is saying gas is easy. Just leak check your work. I do. I did buy. I have a little leak checker. But yeah, I don't know. It was also nice to have them take the old heater and dispose of it. I know it would have been a lot cheaper if I had done it myself, but you know, I can do most things. It's just fit and finish is where I struggle. Like our old house, I put in the laminate flooring and it looked great, except there'd be around the edges here and there where I would mess up cuts and struggle with getting angles right. So when we bought this house, my wife wanted a professional to come do it. She knows I can do it, but she knows where my weakness is too.
Yeah, but now they have that tool that you can get that's like, and then you like push it up to a corner, mold to like that corner, so then you can then transfer it over and draw your line on your laminate or tile. So this way you have a way to cut, so you actually are getting the precise angle.
Yeah, part of the problem is I have like a numbers dyslexia. I'll start confusing myself when I'm making cuts. It's like, I'll be looking at numbers, I'll write down cuts and stuff, and then all the numbers just kind of start jumbling around.
See, that's the nice thing about that tool that I was talking about is you just shove it up against there, and it like forms to the angle you need. You take it over, you put it on your, the piece of wood or tile or whatever that you're cutting. You put it on there, trace it, and then cut it. And you don't have to worry about writing down, hey, I got a 45-degree angle or a 42.3-degree angle, whatever. It's just trace and then cut.
Coop said he hates doing flooring. One thing I figured out when I did our old house, pulled up the carpet, and then you got all the staples you have to get up, and I pull them with pliers, and that sucks. Do not do it that way. I for this house, I pulled up the carpet, did as much prep work as I could, and I bought one of those roofing shovel things for taking up nails, and I used that. And you just, it's over there, but it kind of looks like a pitchfork in between a pitchfork and a shovel. And you just slide that along the flooring, and that'll pull up all those staples. So much easier that way.
So kind of like a giant spork.
Yeah. Let's see if I can. Oh. It's a little different than I explained. So it's kind of in between a scraper and so you can kind of see this picks up all the staples. And I think I even filed these a little bit, these teeth a little bit, so they catch the staples better. But like I said, so much easier than doing it with pliers. And I've tried, I think I had tried a small pry bar, sliding that, and it kind of works, but sometimes it would cut the staples. So then you've got, the two legs of the staple that you have to deal with.
How about, did you try a giant magnet? Like a big giant magnet?
Well, a magnet large enough to pull a staple out of a wood floor would probably be a magnet large enough to kill you, strong enough to kill you, to scramble your brain.
And 7 minutes into the show, we thought it was over.
Shoes and plumbing. Welcome to the man
And flooring.
chat. I didn't mind doing the flooring. The guy that did our house definitely did a lot better job than I did. And he laid them out. So it's when I did the old house, I kind of did it in stages. So, there were a lot of transitions. When the guy came and did our house, it's like one large, it all flows together better. But I was here when he did it. We had it done before we moved all the furniture and stuff in. That way we wouldn't have to move anything out of the way. So I would come and then be around the house while he was doing it. And then the dude was pretty cool. He showed me everything he was doing and how he would do it, what tools he used, and kind of explained everything. So I learned quite a bit watching him. Flying a fins out there. How's it going? Let me see something. Oh, okay.
Whatever they did in the last update on StreamYard, I don't like. They need to undo it, because if you don't touch your screen every once in a while, it'll go dark.
Are you on your phone?
Yep.
Oh. I don't know. Did you have an update on your phone?
No. So, like, they don't offer an app or anything. I wish they did. I keep saying they need to do it. But it used to be if you were on the live, your phone, it would just stay bright, But now, if you don't touch your screen every once in a while, like mute, unmute, whatever, it will go pitch black.
Oh, I've only ever done StreamYard the first time I was on your chat. I did it with the phone because I couldn't figure out what I was doing. So I had to do it from the phone, and it was a nightmare. And I'll never do it from my phone again. Coop was asking about the frogs. That's me. There's a pond right over here. So we've got the freedom frogs out there chirping it up.
I have seen that pond.
Flying a Fin said, I say laminate flooring or wood flooring is the way to go. I agree.
But the real question is it heated flooring or non-heated flooring?
I've never experienced heated flooring. I can imagine it's very nice when it's cold, but I don't know. The old house, the laminate I put in, I just bought from Costco, and that stuff was great. It was wear resistant and chip resistant. I dropped when I was installing it. I dropped a pry bar, and it didn't even scratch it. The stuff we have now, it's got good wear resistance, so it can take scuffing and stuff without a problem, but it chips fairly easily. There's chip marks from where I dropped my car keys.
Costco does have a lot of really nice stuff.
Coop said it's beautiful when the frogs go off like that. We have that too here when the nights are warm enough. We have had a really mild spring here. The tree frogs are quiet right now. Last year, the year before last, there were a lot. Last year, there didn't seem to be as many. And then this year, there's more again. So they're a little louder. But on the overnight intro, the frogs that you hear, that's a recording of them. There's also coyotes in that intro, and those are coyotes that were recorded from right out there. It's I want it to be farther out in the country with more property, but my wife said I cannot take care of that much property if something happens to you, which I understand and is logical. So this place was kind of a compromise. It's in town, but it's a small town. There's the little pond right next to us. And so we're close to everything that we want to go to, all Costco or the grocery store. But it's not so close where you're in the city. It's fairly quiet. So it's nice. Over about a mile and a half off, there's a lake over that way. And then the other side, there's hills. So, we've got a pretty nice view. And there's lots of wildlife, for the pond. We get different kinds. We get wood ducks and mallards. There's herons they come for the frogs. Sometimes they'll even sit on the house to watch there's hawks, and there's a few eagles that'll pass through. There's Flying a Fin asks, you a Cougars fan? Yeah, and there's cougars and bears that are within a mile of here. On the neighborhood app, people will post pictures and sightings and stuff. So it's not quite country, but it's not quite city. So it's kind of a nice little more, maybe a little more country-ish than suburban. So pretty happy with here. But
it's a suburban sprawl.
Yeah. For the Cougars, I am a Cougars fan. I met my wife at WSU. She was a student and I was just kind of there. So Pullman holds lots of memories for me, lots of good memories.
Yeah, there's some nice areas down in Pullman, some nice little restaurants. I forget the name of the one little restaurant. They have it's like Cougar Pride. I forget they call it Cougar something burger basket.
It's probably Cougar Country.
It might be. And that thing is huge. This hamburger is just monstrous.
Yeah, the nice thing about Eastern Washington is you get 4 honest to God seasons, which you don't quite get in Western Washington. Western Washington it's nice because it's temperate, so it doesn't get extremely hot or extremely cold. And if it does, it's not, it'll just be for a week, maybe 2 weeks. And but it does rain a lot. Summers are beautiful once you hit um, kind of June into July into September. You'll have long stretches of really nice weather, and that's what people fall in love with. But winter, it will be kind of damp and rainy a lot. Eastern Washington, you get snow in the winter, hot in the summer. Um, there were days where I'd be walking home from work, and you're already over 70 degrees at 7 o'clock in the morning. Coop said he has 10.5 acres surrounded by woodlands and farms. That'd be nice. Flying to Finn is asking if Washington State is big campus. It's not really a big campus, but it's a really small town. It's kind of like 2 miles, about 2 miles square, 2 miles across, 2 miles longish for the town, and the university is in the middle of the town, so it's like the town is part of the campus. But the campus itself really isn't very very large.
8 miles down the road is the Idaho Vandals.
Yep, in Moscow, Idaho.
I had to go into Moscow just to be able to finally get my Suburban to break traction. I tried breaking traction all over Washington in the wintertime. And when I couldn't get it to break traction. In Pullman, couldn't get it to break traction. In Moscow, I got it to actually slide. I still couldn't get it to do a 360, but I got it to do about a good 190.
Coop was saying when my dad was active duty, we lived on Fort Lewis for 4 years. Washington is beautiful. Too bad the leftists have taken it over. Yeah, there's a lot of retired military that once they retire, they come back to Washington.
Can't anymore.
Yeah, for now.
Yeah, I got friends and family that are up in Washington, and it makes me nervous to even think about going and visiting.
Yeah, and we're just waiting to see what comes out of the next Supreme Court session. I think there will be good things, gun law related.
I can't wait to see what Amy Coney Barrett has to say.
I'm not sure if they'll do anything about Illinois. Just because they like to wait until it's all worked its way through the court system before they hear it, rather than stepping in mid process. Supreme Court likes to wait until the lower courts have finished what they're doing.
Yep. And I agree with you on that for the most part, but right now there's so many of them that are kind of getting irritated with multiple different states deciding to give them the big FU. And so I think this may be where they break tradition and maybe do something.
It's not impossible for them to step in. It has happened before. It's just kind of on the rare side. So, we'll see. Flying Finn grew up in Helsinki. It's kind of going back up through the comments. I know I missed some, so just
I've missed every single one of them.
so just making sure I didn't miss anything that was pointed at us. I don't think I did.
That's one thing I think StreamYard could work better on is like if you're hosting from your phone, you can see the comments without having to open up something. But if you're just as a guest, you have to hit the chat button and open up. And if you hit the wrong button, it kicks you completely out, and then you got to restart again.
Yeah, like I said, after that first try doing it, I've never tried it again on a phone. And there's lots of people that do, like Rob on New York Outcast. He's always using his phone and doesn't seem to have too much of a problem. But I did not like the experience of doing the chat from my phone. Coop said, I usually just lurk in the chat during the mouse party. I do that sometimes too, especially if I'm in bed. Just because I feel bad if I pop in, say hi, and then you get everybody saying hi to you, and I'm supposed to be sleeping, but I'm looking at the chat, and then so I feel obligated to say hi back to everybody because I feel bad if I don't, and then I end up staying up later. Guns and Waters out there. Ozzy, talking about Coney Barrett, said I would agree, but since she asked for deposition, it may be different this time. That's possible. I'm hoping that they would step in, but we'll have to see if they actually do or not.
Yep, because if they wouldn't step in, that would possibly help the entire country.
Yeah, and the argument that Illinois is using is ridiculous.
Well, they're using the same garbage that California is using, and trying to get. And so there are some other places that are using those same kind of arguments. It's the new tactic to try getting around New York Pistol v. Bruin.
Yeah, they're using a little sleight of hand where they're saying that the long guns can be banned because they're not used for self-defense. They're not commonly used for self-defense, which is changing that they are in common use, and that's why they cannot be banned. But the state is trying to do a little, like I said, sleight of hand and changing it to not just common use, but commonly used for self-defense, which is not a valid argument.
Yeah, and they're trying to say that under the New York Pistol and Rifle v. Bruin, that it's the plaintiff's burden of proof and not the state's burden of proof on to prove that the laws did not go back to 1791.
And in the courts, it should never be the defendant's. The onus should not be on the defendant to prove their innocence. It should be the state duty to prove the guilt. Otherwise, you can bring charges against anybody and say, prove you're innocent. It's like, it's almost like proving a negative. It's not the way.
Unfortunately, that is pretty much the way it works in the judicial system. Even though we like to say you're guilty till proven innocent, when you're on that other side of it and you're the one being charged, you pretty much have to be able to prove you're the innocent party and not that you're the guilty party.
That's true. And even if you're, like with the jury, the fact that you were charged in some people's mind will make them think you're guilty. You look at stories that come up in the papers. Somebody was charged. They were just charged. They weren't found guilty, but a lot of people will consider them guilty just because they were charged. Which, that's not the way the legal system is supposed to work. That's not blind justice. And there's, how many stories, there's lots of stories you can come up with where, like the Atlanta Olympic bombings, the security guard was blamed. So he became the subject. So in the papers, he was the guilty person, and everybody considered him guilty. And I'm using everybody just as a generalization. I'm not saying anybody out there personally said that. But in the court of public opinion, he was guilty. And so that can destroy somebody's life, and he was found innocent later. But since he was charged, there's still people that think he was guilty.
More recently, you had Sean Kemp, who had his iPhone stolen in Tacoma, and he tracked it down, went over there, ended up getting into a shootout. He was arrested, but then he was released like later on when they figured out that allegedly he was the victim. Well, he was the victim of the original crime of having his car broke into and his property stolen. But when he tracked it and went to their house, he kind of became the aggressor.
That one, I didn't really look into that story. I didn't, because the way the stories that I had, can't remember if I heard it on the radio or if it was, I saw a story online, but they were talking about him doing drive-by shooting, and I just could not picture Sean Kemp. And probably most people don't know who Sean Kemp is. He was a basketball player for the Sonics, and he owns a restaurant in Seattle. And I haven't seen anything I don't know him personally, but have never seen him in any way act in that manner. He was always a stand-up guy when he's a basketball player. From people that I know that had been to his restaurant, he would walk around and talk to people out in the at their tables and stuff. So like I said, I didn't look into it. I don't know the specifics of the case.
I did get to meet him in person. Him, Gary Payton, downtown Freddie Brown, and a few others back when we still had Seafirst Banks in Washington, and they were doing the Summer Slam basketball camp.
That'd be pretty cool. I don't know, Peyton. Well, I don't want to get into Seattle basketball because nobody else is gonna care. But it'd be kind of cool to meet everybody. I've heard, Peyton seems like kind of a jerk, but
I think he had that attitude more like as a public persona, but when you actually got to meet him, he was like pretty damn cool. Like when he saw I was wearing the Santa Glove shoes, he got down on like one knee and autographed the shoe right
that's
on
cool.
my feet.
Robert Moore's out there saying the media charges them guilty. Yeah, and with the media, you have to remember, I hear a lot of people talk about, oh, the media used to be this or used to be that. It has never been the media has always been a product sold to the public. I think there is a little bit difference now where it is when the investigative journalism came in. So there are people that will do stories to prove a point rather than give the news. And and I'm not discounting them as a whole, because there have been investigative journalists that have dug up really important stories of corruption and things like that, but then sometimes it's used like journalism in total to push a narrative. I used to, in my younger days, my more naive days, I used to think, how can the news be left or right? It's just the news. It's just what's happening. 'Cause I didn't realize it's not, it's what they say about the stories or what stories they cover or don't cover. But you can go back through history and look at, you know, stuff I brought up before, and of course I can't remember exactly who, but presidential candidates in the 1800s, where stories run that one of the candidates' mother is a prostitute, or their mother. This actually happened. One story that candidate's mother was a hermaphrodite. So news has not always been, like I said, it's a product that's sold. If they're not covering news in a way that sells papers, then they're not making money and they don't have a newspaper. In the late 1800s, Randolph, who's at Hearst, said that's where the quote, "If it bleeds, it leads," comes from. That's how old that saying is. Turn of the century. So it's, I think it's just kind of now they're more upfront about the way the news is being used.
Have you ever been to California and seen Hearst Castle?
No. I want to say hello to Guns and Barbecue out there. Good evening, sir.
Hopefully his ribs are doing better.
He said he was out in the chat Sunday night. He said they were feeling better. So it's good to hear he's on the mend.
Was I on that panel?
Yes, you were.
And again, I was probably on my phone, so I was not paying attention to the comments.
Oh, let me grab copy that in here, and I'll drop a link for G23s. There we go. There's a link for G23's channel. So if you are so inclined, you can head over there and check out what he's got going on.
I don't do anything.
Well, sometimes you just need a break. It can get a little, the YouTube stuff, it's not hard per se, but it can be wearing sometimes. If especially when you're a smaller channel and you're basically doing stuff on your own, making your own videos. You're the cameraman. If you do scripts, you're a script writer. You're the producer. You're the researcher. So it can make you tired sometimes. So so sometimes you just need a break. Especially if you're a small channel, you're not getting paid to do this. You're doing it for either the love of doing it or because you think it's important enough to be doing it. I don't get paid. G23 does have a Patreon, so you can support his channel. I'll grab a link for that in a minute. So taking a break once in a while isn't bad. Just to recharge your batteries.
Yep. I got a video I gotta film and put out. So it will be, hopefully I'll get it filmed and released either tomorrow or released Friday.
It's I don't know. I don't have any. I don't think I had any non-chat videos that I was going to work on. Yeah. I'm thinking I'm forgetting something, but that's normal. Coop wants to know if you got your plasma cut and do you like it?
I did get the plasma cut, and that is one of the videos I have to get done. So it is actually still boxed up, and I have not unboxed it yet.
He said he forgets who he sends all the cuts to.
I know which one I got. I call it the propane bottle, but he calls it something else. I forget what he called it. I say it's a propane bottle.
Oh, so are you? You are going to do a chat this weekend on Saturday, 3
Yes,
o'clock
sir.
Pacific.
Yes, sir. I will be doing one this Saturday, 3 Pacific, 6 Eastern metric time.
Do you want to tell them what you're going to talk about, or do you want to keep that under wraps for now?
So, I think I'm gonna go back to the kind of the reason why I started my channel, and so I'm going to start a 50-week series. So we shall start that on Saturday.
Cool. Again, that's Saturdays, 3 o'clock Pacific, 6 o'clock Eastern. Robert Moore wants to know what a plasma cut is. Coop has a plasma cutter, and he cuts out designs. You have a website, don't you, Coop? If you, I thought you did. If you do, drop a link out there for your website for your.
Is he a mod?
Yeah.
In any of his videos and his live streams, probably 99% of them, you will see his designs hanging on the wall.
So, well, Ozzy said, I don't want to point fingers, but sure do miss Sunday morning chat. I still do also. I'll be up early, and it always seems like there's something missing. But it's Gary has done a lot, had a lot of chats, so he deserves a little time for himself now.
11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern metric time is the Georgia trapping and fishing on Sundays, and with Mr. Craig hanging out in the fur shed. So lots of great different kinds of conversations that go on there, from trapping, fishing, hunting, firearms, food. It's kind of a mixed bag of tricks.
Yeah, Craig's a pretty cool dude. The Georgia trapping and shooting. Is there anything else you want to plug?
Let's see. Check out gear websites at gearwebsites.com for your two-way packs addiction. Awesome products. So
there's a link for gearwebsites.com. Place for all your 2A related stickers, patches, t-shirts, web host, web design, web consulting, you name it, he can probably help you out with it. Gearwebsites.com.
Logo design.
So I appreciate everybody that was out there in the live chat. It was maybe a little slower chat this time, but if you were out there chatting, I appreciate it. If you were out there just listening, lurking in the background, I appreciate you too. If you watch this in replay, leave a comment. I always read the comments and they're always appreciated. No chat this weekend. It's an off weekend, but there'll be an overnight weekend after. And I think we're going to talk about a little bit of psychology of criminals, what they look for when they're choosing victims. Started kind of researching into that. So probably talk about that and maybe something else.
Ooh, I know somebody who could actually talk firsthand experience of that.
There next Wednesday there will be another. As far as there should be another mouse party, same time. And other than that, I hope everybody. Sorry, I just lost my outro. Where'd you go? All right. So other than that, I hope everybody has a good rest of the night.